I want to share with you my process for keeping control of email. I had to really learn this process back about 12 years ago when my third child was born. He was a surprise baby. We were kind of all maxed out already with two kids, my wife and I, and all of a sudden, boom, we're gonna have a third one. Congratulations! But I realized that I was playing it fast and loose with email, and I was barely able to maintain attention on the two kids that I had. And I just realized this can't go on. Okay, so I had to learn some tricks. And over the last 12 years, I've been working with this, and I really feel like this is what works for me. Now, you can take this and think about how this might work for you. Instead, this is a subset of a larger suite of approaches to personal, I'll say productivity, but productivity in the sense I don't care about getting more stuff done. I just want to get the right stuff done and not have to work all the time, right? When I leave campus at 5:30, it is a wall of separation. And, my kids honestly could not tell you what I do for a living because I don't talk about it. I don't do it at home. And I pride myself on that. How have I gotten there? I'm going to show you how. So this is a larger superstructure of productivity called Getting Things Done. It was developed by David Allen in a book called Getting Things Done, The Art of Stress-Free Productivity. A link to that is in the notes. Highly encourage you all to read that. And there's another book called ZTD that's written by a guy named Leo Babauta. That's sort of a minimalist approach to getting things done, GTD. Both of those books would be well worth your time, especially the ZTD book if you can't read anything else. So to first think about email, when you're thinking about processing email, it's not just reading it. An email is a container for information. Okay, sometimes there's nothing in that container. Sometimes there's multiple things in that container. Every email has to be opened, looked into, and you have to decide what to do with it. And sometimes you have to turn it into something that isn't an email. Okay, so before we process, we need to have some setup first. Okay, 5 lists and a calendar. All right. So before we dive into the email, we need to have 5 lists available. Now, I happen to keep these lists in a tool called Trello, and I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. But you could have these in a paper notebook. You could have these in a text editor or a Google Doc. These are going to be lists. They're going to start empty, okay, today. One is called projects. The other is called waiting for, someday maybe, next actions, and agendas. Okay, those 5 lists. You could even do this right now in a separate browser window if you wanted to. And we also need to have a calendar, whether it's analog paper or Google Calendar or Outlook Calendar or whatever you need to do. I should say that Grand Valley is a Google Apps for Education campus. So everything I'm going to show you from here on out is Google Docs, Google Calendar, Gmail. Damon's going to come along behind me and show you all this stuff in Outlook. And Outlook is a fantastic tool. That's not our platform. But it is your platform. Now, optionally, you can set up email folders if you're in Outlook, and Gmail, they're called labels for projects. And I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. So before we do anything with email, it's just like telling my kids to clean up their room. They can't just clean up your room. You got to have places to put the stuff that you're cleaning up. You have to have bins for the clothes, a trash can, a place on your desk for papers. So these 5 lists are the places where email and the information in it is going to go and not stay in the inbox. And calendar is like a 6th sort of a list. So on the notes, there is this there's this flow chart that I call the clarity loop, because this is exactly what it provides is clarity. We're going to zero out our inboxes. No kidding, zero out the inboxes for real by going through every item in every inbox one at a time from the top down, okay, and asking a bunch of questions about it. And at the end point of each of these questions is a green box that is going to get rid of the email and put it in the right place where anything that's actionable can be acted upon at the right time. Okay. And anything that's non-actionable is going to be just put in the right place where you can get to it easily. Or if it's trash, we're just going to trash stuff. So I just want to point out, you can see a larger version of this on your notes, but I just want to point out what we're going to ask for each item in each inbox. First of all, we're going to ask, is this thing actionable? Does this email contain any actionable items for me to do? A lot of times the answer is no, okay? And then you have to ask yourself, all right, if I'm not being asked to do something, then what is this email? The answer could be, this email means nothing to me, okay? It's spam, or it's an announcement that doesn't apply to me. In that case, we're just going to trash it. If it's just information, I'm going to file it away in the right place, okay, in a folder or with a tag. If it's something that I don't need to think about this right now, but maybe someday I will, then I'm going to put it on the someday maybe list. Okay. And I will review that list on a regular basis to remind myself, I told myself I was going to think about this someday. If it's actionable, I'm going to ask myself, is the action contained in this email just one thing, or is it like a multi-layered collection of actions? A multi-layered collection of actions, something that takes more than one step that you want to get done in a year's time or less, is a project, okay, in our language, okay? And I'm going to take that, if it's a project, I'm going to put it on the projects list, and I'm going to ask myself, what is the next physical action that I can do to move that project forward? Okay, get it down to one action, and now proceed onward. If it is a single action, we're here, and I'm going to ask myself, can I just get it done in 2 minutes or less? If I can, I'm going to do it right now. Stop everything, just get it done if it takes 2 minutes or less. If it's something that does not take 2 minutes or less, it's a little longer, I'm going to ask myself, am I the right person to be doing this? Derek mentioned I used to be department chair. I'm not anymore. Sometimes I still get email that's addressed to the department chair. So it's actionable. It takes a long time. It's one thing, but it's not for me, right? It's for somebody else. So if that's the case, I'm going to ask myself, do I have the authority to delegate this to another person? Okay. If I do, I'm going to delegate it, talk to that person, and make a reminder on my waiting for list. Just make a list like, I emailed Esther, my current department chair, about this thing on this day. And then I'll review that waiting for list over time to make sure I'm getting things back. If I don't have the authority to delegate, I'm going to put that on the agendas list and then talk to that person later. I can't just give people stuff to do, right? Who am I? I have no authority. Like if I get something that's really meant that's better done by Derek, I'm going to say like, Derek, I have no authority over you. Like we don't even work in the same place, but I'm going to talk to you about this at some point. That's so I'm going to put on my agendas list, talk to Derek about the thing. And then I'm going to delete the email. That's an important thing. Every time I hit one of these green things, I'm done with the email, right? I'm just going to boop, hit or archive is the way it works in Gmail. Okay, I don't need the email anymore. I've pulled out all the info that's in it and the container is empty. It's like getting a box from Amazon. I don't care about the box anymore. If that's to be done by me, I'm going to ask, does it have an actual honest to God external deadline on it? Okay, like today. Okay, I had to get these slides done by today. Okay, so there I put that on my calendar with a reminder, like it's sitting there on my Google Calendar. Get the slides ready. Okay, and then I'm going to throw away the email. If it doesn't have a real external deadline, it's an action that takes longer than 2 minutes. That's to be done by me. That's a single thing, and it's actionable. So it goes on a list called next actions. Okay, that I will show you what that looks like for me. I honest to God, I'm going to show you what all this stuff looks like in my system. And I'm going to do this for every item one at a time, top down in every inbox that I do. I'm not going to talk about it because I'm doing this all in my head when I'm actually running through this. You might think, oh my God, you just took 3 minutes to describe one email. Well, in practice, this takes like 5 seconds to do, okay, when you get the habit worked out, okay? So I'm going to now, I'm now going to show you what this actually really does look like in practice. I see Janet has a hand up there, so I'm going to take a quick question here. Janet, go ahead and speak out your question.
So I want to know, so let's say it says something like, you need to submit an abstract for some conference and here's the link, okay, right? So that's not an email I necessarily want to delete because I'm going to need that link later. So can you tell me more about how I would deal with something like that?
Okay, here we go. It's actionable. Yes. Okay, you got to submit the abstract. Assuming you want to go to the conference, right? You might make a decision like, I don't care about this conference, and you just delete the email. Okay. If it is actionable and that sounds like a single action. I mean, you could make a case that you might want to like write a draft of the abstract and then revise it and so forth. But let's say that's a single action. Okay. It's a single action. Can it be done in less than 2 minutes? Most cases, no, I would say. I mean, most conferences. Is it to be done by me? Yeah, unless we have an assistant that will write it for me. It's to be done by me. Does it have a deadline? Probably it does. Okay, so I would probably end up putting that on the calendar with a reminder that would pop up. I don't know, I could set the reminder for like a week out if I felt like it. Then it would say like, submit abstract to conference X. And then I would delete the email because now it lives on my calendar where it's best situated to be seen.
And so would you copy that extra information, like the link and that sort of thing?
Yeah, probably. I mean, it's just a copy paste. I might put that in the like the notes field on the reminder if that's available. I don't know how that works on Outlook, but on Gmail you can add notes to a calendar event. Like I did today. I mean, I copied the Zoom link and put it in the thing on the calendar.
Okay.
And then you're done. And then you just delete the email.
I'm prepared to speak to a method that may handle that situation in Outlook.
Okay. Yeah. Damon's going to be the Outlook guru, I think. And again, Outlook is a fabulous tool. I kind of wish sometimes we used